Howshall of Empowered Hearts Ministry, ministering revival and reformation to the family for 30 years.
You know, we've been lulled into a deep deception of our own making. Do you remember the movie The Matrix? It's a perfect analogy of what has happened to the family and even the church. So here's just a quick summary of The Matrix. The main character, Neo, has been deceived along with multitudes of citizens to believe that they're living a real life, while all the time their bodies are asleep, merely existing in a puddle of goo and slime in a gigantic laboratory. And they were being used as human experiments for a dark agenda. Neo begins to notice things are strange. He has this feeling something is wrong, and he knows it has something to do with the Matrix, but he doesn't know what the Matrix is. Somehow, the Matrix developed a glitch in its system, and Neo begins seeing himself repeating certain scenes of his life. His life has actually been programmed into his brain to experience, leading him to believe that it's all real while he sleeps. Well, Neo meets Morpheus, who says he can answer his questions, and he tells him the Matrix is only an illusion that is all around him as he sleeps, so that he doesn't know he's actually a slave. Morpheus offers him a red pill and a blue pill. The blue pill will help him forget the meeting, and he can go back to his normal slave life. The red pill will lead him into more truth, where he can come to understand the Matrix, but the truth won't be easy. Well, Neo rightly chooses the red pill, and it causes him to wake up to reality. And his reality is that he's been living his whole life in a puddle of goo, hooked up to tubes and wires that are sucking his energy to power his enemy, the machines. He can see that there are thousands upon thousands of other people in puddles of goo. He eventually becomes completely aware of the deception and gets free of the Matrix and enters the real world, only to find that he's breathing real air and freedom for the first time. He then has to undergo extensive therapy because he's never actually used his muscles or his eyes before, even though he thought he was living an actual life. So you see, in the Matrix, people were being raised and used by an evil, oppressive, dominating force, but they didn't even know it. And they were living an artificial life in their minds that kept them lulled into satisfaction and complacency. They were actually in bondage, and their world was being destroyed around them, and they didn't know it. Well, you see, children are being forced to live a bad dream that they're supposed to believe is real life because everyone else does. So your schooled children's minds and hearts are not being cared for, but they're also not being educated as you suppose. You think they are because you experienced school and you think you were educated. But you only experienced a fraction of what education was supposed to accomplish in you. Your parents and grandparents experienced school, and they thought it educated them. They too were robbed of a true education. Well, during my years of home educating, and even as my children married and began their families, I experienced many vicarious moments of real life as I witnessed theirs that I had been robbed of. I couldn't have been happier for my children to live a real life full of joy and love and peace and purpose and real fulfillment. Now, in a way, God redeemed all I had lost as I witnessed and participated and guided my children's very full whole life education. Whole life simply means nothing missing. So everyone around you is believing together that schooling produces a whole education. But academics is only a very small piece of a whole life education. But the deception has led generation after generation to surrender their children to a worldly system designed to create subservient compliant people, somehow trusting that it won't produce subservient, compliant, and complacent worldly people. We need to wake up to reality. And I know that's been happening a lot across schools, school boards, and in school districts, I should say, across the nation. But we keep taking this blue pill when we need to take the red one. And yet, just as Neo had a choice which pill he'd take, we have a choice too.